Okay, welcome to Mr. Horner's lesson on factoring by grouping. Okay, the objective here is that you're going to try and complete the section, and what you're going to be able to do is factor these polynomials by the grouping strategy. So let's get started here and figure out how we are going to group. Sorry, erase those. So what you're going to see is the steps for factoring by grouping. The first step, as you can see up here, is you're going to see polynomials that have 4 terms inside. Okay, so this example, you have x to the third plus x squared plus 2x plus 2. Okay, you're always going to see 4 terms when you're going to use the grouping strategy. Okay, so how are we going to group them? That leads us to our second step. You are going to factor the first 2 terms and the second 2 terms separately. Okay? And you're going to use the GCF strategy to do this. So as you can see here, x to the third plus x to the second, you're going to have those 2 terms and factor those separately from 2x plus 2. Okay? As you can see, there's a line drawn in the middle. So after this step, the first thing you're going to do is factor the GCF of x to the third plus x to the second. What is that greatest common factor? That greatest common factor is right here. I'm highlighting it right now. X squared. Okay, so that's the one you're going to pull out of those 2 factors. So once you pull out x squared, you are left with x plus 1. Okay, that's going to be very important as you continue to factor. So then that next part of the grouping strategy is you're going to factor out 2x plus 2. So what is the GCF of 2x plus 2? It is highlighted over here. Oops, sorry about that. Messed up. There we go. Okay. So I've highlighted the 2 because 2x plus 2, obviously the greatest common factor is 2, so that's the thing you're going to pull out. And then what are you left with again? Out of these 2, you are left with x plus 1. So as you can see, there's like a pattern here. Is there something that you recognize? Is there something similar? There is. Okay, so this final step, what you're going to do is factor out the common factor that you see in what was already factored, okay, in both terms. As you can see, this common factor is none other than x plus 1. Okay, as you can see, it matches up here, x plus 1. You're going to pull that out first. Okay, so once you do that, okay, at the bottom here, you can see that we have our x plus 1 term. We're going to place that first here at the bottom. And then there's also an x squared plus 2. Where does that x squared plus 2 come from? It actually comes from right here. The factor you pulled out in the first set is the x squared. The factor you pulled out using the GCF method in the second set is 2. Okay, so that's where you're going to get those. And that is your second part of the parentheses. And that is how you complete a problem factoring a polynomial that is 4 terms using the grouping method. Okay, so let's practice a couple on our own now. Let me switch gears here. Alright, we'll pull this up. So now together we'll try and complete these. So if you don't have a sheet of paper out, I would highly suggest that, as we're going to complete some examples right now. So the first problem we're going to do is x to the third subtracted by 9x squared plus 4x minus 6. Okay, again, first thing we do, we look for our 4 terms. We have our 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is separate and group. Okay, so I'll change colors here. What I'm going to do is, again, separate using the line. Okay, I solid line. You can use whatever line you choose. Okay, but I'm going to separate them. Okay, group them into 2 terms each. Okay, once I do that, I bring down this term. So first thing I do was 1, separate. Sorry if the writing is a little sloppy. Second thing I'm going to do is find the GCF of both separated grouping terms. Okay, so when I do that, what can I pull out of 6x cubed and 9x squared? I can pull out an x squared. Okay, so that will go here. Pull out the x squared. Again, I have the parentheses. What is left out of those two? I have a 2x from the 6x cubed, and then I have a 3 left from 9x squared. Okay, so that is that side. Now we will complete the other side. So again, over here now, pull this down. What can I pull out of 4x minus 6? The greatest common factor would be a 2. Okay, and what is left? Again, I have 2x. And then again, I have minus 3. So we have our common factors now that are in third step, common factor. Okay, my third step, the common factor, I have them. They're right here. 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3. I will pull that down, and that will go first in my first parentheses down here. 2x minus 3. And then again, I'm looking at the second part of this factored equation. I need to find out what my second parentheses is. What did I pull out using the GCF? I pulled out this x squared and this 2. Okay, so that is what I'm going to bring down. Okay, so I have my x squared. And then since this 2 is not negative, it's positive, and have a addition sign, plus 2, and that is finished. Okay, that is factored by grouping right here. Okay, so that problem is done. Let's continue now. Another example. So here's another example. I'm going to write it up here. You might see one like this where it is x squared, y squared, plus ay to the second, plus ab, plus bx squared. Okay, again, I'm doing the same steps as I did before. Okay, it may look a little more difficult. It's really not that bad. So again, first step I'm going to do, separate. Draw my line in between. Okay, break it up into 2 separate groups. Next thing I'm going to do is find my greatest common factor from the first 2. So again, arrow comes down. Got to find the GCF. GCF. Sorry, that was a little mess up. GCF. So what am I going to pull out? Out of these 2, I have here, I have y squared, that makes sense. So I'm going to pull out y squared. What do I have left? Inside the parentheses, what do I have left? I have an x squared from this term, and an a from this term. Okay, so that's my first set of pulling the greatest common factor out, the first 2 terms. The second 2 terms, taking a look, what can I do here? Term I can pull out is greatest common factor is b. Then I'm left with a in here, and then x squared. Okay, now these may look different. If you look at it, the greatest common factors you pulled out were y squared and b. What was left was x squared plus a in one, and then a plus x squared in the other. They are actually the same, and you are allowed to rearrange them. Okay, so I have x squared here, x squared plus a, and then a plus x squared. They are the same, so this will continue and this will work.
Steve, you have your walkie-talkie?
It's up to you whether, what order you would like to put them in.
Apparently he needs supplies, like, right away.
So all you have to do again is bring it down. You can put it in whatever order you would like, x squared plus a or a plus x squared. I'm going to use x squared plus a on one side. Okay. And then again, looking at your final step here, you have what's left, y squared and b. So that can be your second set of parentheses. Y squared. Again, the b is positive, so it's plus b. And you're finished. Okay. If, in any case, eraser. If you pulled out a b from this section, and this turned out to be x squared minus a, would that work? Would you be able to factor that by grouping? No. Okay, that would not work. And what happens in this case is it is just unfactorable, or if it was like this, it would be not factorable. I apologize for my writing. Whoop. Anyway. All right. So again, if that was the case, and they weren't equal, it would not be factorable. So these are the examples you're going to see when you're going to be doing this factoring by grouping. So good luck. Take out, we're going to do some problems now on your own, or maybe with some activity. But that is the lesson for today.